Becky with the good hair. Wasn't that the line from from Beyonce?
Yeah.
The one that is alleged to have cheated with Jay-Z?
Yep.
Becky with the good hair. I'm hoping it wasn't Becky Hill, but, stranger things have happened. This, of course, the Colleton County Clerk of Court, who's gained notoriety during the high-profile Alex Murdaugh trial for the allegations of jury tampering. It gets deeper as there's now two separate investigations being conducted by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, otherwise known as SLED. Now, this is nothing new per se, but it is new that we know that it's SLED investigations. And it's not just accusations or an internal investigation. It's real. This is the state version of the FBI in South Carolina. Every state has their own state variation of it on a state level. This SLED is the South Carolina version of a state FBI, if you will. The first investigation.
Pardon me for interrupting, but did you have this on your bingo card when it came to Murdaugh?
That the clerk of court was going to be investigated for jury tampering? Or are you talking about all the other spaces that have now been created? Like, Becky has her own, letter on the bingo card now, B, right? Where it's jury tampering. Son gets charged with wiretapping. Let's see here. Plagiarism. Improper use of your office for $10,000 check cashing. Paying yourself from the children, it's some sort of children's fund that they took bonuses from. And we'll get to it in a second, but it's just so cringeworthy. We'll break it down. The first investigation revolves around Hill's alleged improper interactions with a jury during Alex Murdaugh's trial for the murders of his wife, Maggie, and son, Paul, in early 2023. That development comes as a stunning turn of events for Hill, who initially garnered admiration for her charm, humor, and composure during the 6-week trial that drew international attention. The second investigation centers around allegations that Hill used her elected position for personal gain, further complicating her legal predicament. The controversy surrounding Hill began to escalate in early September following the release of her insider memoir about the Murdaugh trial, titled Behind the Doors of Justice. Murdaugh's defense attorneys raised concerns in court filings, alleging that Hill had inappropriately influenced jurors, potentially compromising the integrity of the trial. Among the accusations were claims that Hill engaged in private conversations with jurors, denied them permission to take smoke breaks during deliberations, and instructed them to, quote, not be fooled, quote, by evidence presented by the defense team. Additionally, the defense contended that Hill had plotted to remove a juror she believed was not inclined to deliver a guilty verdict. These actions, the defense asserted, were aimed at enhancing the sales of the book Hill intended to co-author about the trial with Neil Gordon. In response to the jury tampering allegations, Hill vehemently denied any wrongdoing and submitted a sworn affidavit refuting more than 24 accusations outlined in the defense's motion. She enlisted the legal representation of State Representative Justin Bamberg and former Assistant U.S. Attorney Will Lewis to navigate her legal challenges, mainly because the Attorney General said, I ain't fucking touching this shit.
Right?
This is what basically happened. The state could have defended her. She had to get her own legal representation. However, Hill's troubles continued to mount. In November, her son, Jeffrey Hill, who served as the Colleton County Technology Director, was arrested and charged with wiretapping. The South Carolina Attorney General's office assumed jurisdiction over the case, and Jeffrey Hill was subsequently terminated from his employment. I don't know much about Jeffrey Hill, but he sure looks like someone who lives in his mom's basement. And I don't know if that's the case.
I think I read, and I about fell over when I saw how much he made. It was like $97,000.
Not anymore.
Right.
And this having on your resume might not help employment prospects. It
depends. Is that something you put on your resume? I mean, that's, that shows a different level of being a technology wizard.
Yeah, it does. And then, of course, Becky's emails released just before Christmas added further complexity to the situation. Among the emails, co-author Neil Gordon discovered evidence of plagiarism. Probably should have discovered that earlier, co-author Neil Gordon, as Hill had lifted parts of the introduction of her book from a BBC article that was mistakenly sent to her. In response, Gordon pledged to donate a portion of his book profits to charity, and the publication of his book was halted. There's that 3-day court hearing coming up January 29th, where the tampering allegations will be argued. It'll be interesting to see how much of her credibility does come into question here in court, because, again, not all of these things have direct relationship to Alex Murdaugh. This is not something where there's like a discovery phase and attorneys are going to argue this can be argued, that can be argued in front of a jury. It's up to the judge, and the judge knows all of these things.
Yeah.
So the judge, whether or not you believe it or not, this judge will be taking all of this into consideration, I think, when making a decision about Becky Hill's impact on the Alex Murdaugh trial, and if Alex does deserve a new trial. I would say at this point he does, without a doubt, deserve a new trial. Is he guilty as shit? Yes. But still, if we're going to follow our system, he deserves a new trial, because what happens next time around when someone who is innocent as hell and they have something like this go down? You'd want them to have a new trial too. You can't base it on the case itself of the merits of it if someone had a fair trial or not. Your clerk of court's going around telling people to not be fooled, jurors specifically. I'm sorry. You just completely changed this up for Alex Murdaugh.
What concerns me is now that this case had concluded, he's been sentenced, it's over, where are we going to find a jury that doesn't know all of this stuff? I mean, they're going to know he was convicted. So how do you walk into another trial and expect a different outcome? I understand that we have to do it because he needs a fair trial, and he didn't get one, apparently. But how do we do this?
They're going to probably make completely different arguments this next time around. The way it was sold to the jury really wasn't very good. But I think there'll be new revelations that will come out that will somehow try to exonerate Alex Murdaugh. My guess is maybe we're going to hear more admissions from Alex. I don't know what or where, but the angle of this was some sort of a hit and I had no choice and I made a horrible decision and I was afraid for my family or something hasn't been done yet. Be a hard one to prove, I guess, if it never happened. But I don't know. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it did. If there was a hit and Alex is such a cowarding piece of shit that he just, kind of took the hit of it and thought maybe he could go forward and still make his money and live his life and never have to be accountable for the situation that he got his family into. If, in fact, someone else is involved here. There's not a lot of evidence that points to that, though. That's the other problem.
Yeah, that is the other problem, isn't it?
There's not other tire tracks. There's not other shoe prints. There's not a lot. There's other DNA. I mean, they didn't do a whole great job scouring the crime scene to begin with. But, okay, you're going to make these claims. What evidence do you have to back up any sort of claim? I don't know. I mean, it really could go anywhere. I just don't see them doing the exact same thing. The other question I think that deserves to be raised here is because everything in this case it's like looking in the rearview mirror. Objects may appear closer than they are. Or in this case, objects may just show up in your mirror that aren't really there. That seems to be what's going on with some of this. It does make me wonder a little bit, is there any way this equation works out that Becky Hill did this on purpose for a second Alex Murdaugh trial? I mean, it's being expressed that she really was hell-bent on him being guilty as shit and should burn, and she was going to do whatever she could to see that through. But some of these,
he pissed her off during some.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying, is this some sort of conspiring individual with the Murdaugh family that's throwing herself out there under the bus to get him a new trial? And is she going to be rewarded in some way, shape, or form? I don't know. I mean, it's an out there one, but some of these decisions are so blatantly stupid that she made.
Yeah.
Either she's just a complete fucking imbecile, which is very possible, or is there something else at play here? Murdaughs have gotten their way for a long time through conniving and controlling people and doing this and that. It does make me wonder, is there something else going on here with Becky Hill's abhorrent behavior that maybe this is on purpose? Maybe this is designed for Alec to get a new trial because there was no other path to have that take place.
Can you imagine if we find out that fact?
It would be interesting. It would be interesting. Stranger things have happened. There's so much in this case that's not explainable, and so is this. Other than she's a fucking moron. But I don't know. It's easy to go down that road. I think it's more difficult and probably a little more plausible that maybe there's something else.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.